Welcome to my channel to everyone who's new here, and of course to those of you who are back again. Great to have you here. Bitcoin is currently trading at 109,000 US dollar. In this video we will take a look together at possible scenarios for the price development of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. And if you also want to trade with cheap taker fees, then I can recommend you the crypto exchange mexc, which has a similar trading volume to Bitget, OKX and Bybit. But as you can see, I already highlighted you here, the taker fees are far much lower than on the other top crypto exchanges. And on top of that, you can get an additional 20% discount on those low taker fees if you use my referral link, which you can find in the video description. 100 pers, 0 fees just on mexc, and here you can trade some popular altcoins without any fees on mexc. So, yesterday was Sunday, so I didn't make a video, but we have said in this price development what should happen. So let's do a small recap. We have to go into the 50-minute chart so you can see it. We have said here that we have an inverted head and shoulders formation, which is a bullish pattern. It broke to the upside and directly went into the target of the length of one shoulder. That's the first target which we take. It's the length of one shoulder. We put it to our breakout point. This wasn't tradable. Why? Because I want to wait for the breakout, the retest, and then I jump in the trade in the retest and go for the target. So let me take out the first target. So what happened afterwards was, we have said this trend line wasn't bright blue. It's bright blue because it formed another chart pattern, but this was a white trend line. We have also said we have to break the 109,500 US dollar to the upside to get into the target of the inverted head and shoulders formation. But this time, the length of the head means from the bottom to the resistance. We put it then to our breakout point, target 110,290 US dollar. We didn't break the currently bright blue trend line here to the upside. What happened afterwards was, I have also said it, if we can get back into the 108,550 US dollar, which we also did after my video, but we lost that support. With that, it was clear that we should drop at least to 107,250 US dollar. We wicked lower than that. And by wicking lower than that, we have formed two different chart patterns. One is bullish, one is bearish. Let's get into the bullish one. What was tradable? We have said we have this white trend line. Yeah, this is currently bright blue. If we break it to the upside and retest it, it's long. Here was the breakout. Here was the retest. Or we had even a second time another retest. Yeah, so on the 1 hour chart, it was also tradable. Yeah, we are on the 50 minutes chart. But on the 1 hour chart, I can also show you that here was the breakout candle, here was the first retest, here was the second retest. So with that said, it was long into the 110,290 US dollar, because that's the target of the inverted head and shoulders formation in combination of that trend line. We went into that target. I can just put it here to your left, to your right, and you can see we hit the target. So I can take this one out. I can also make this trend line white. We hit the target of the inverted head and shoulders formation, even both. So what I see now is, in bright blue, a falling wedge, which broke to the upside, which got its retest target 111,800 US dollar. But for that, we have to break the 110,290 US dollar to the upside. Afterwards, I think we can go into the 111,800 US dollar. I will put you here price mark. And afterwards, the push to 112,500 US dollar. Why that price mark? Because it's a psychological price mark, where I think people are going to take profits. Yeah, that area even reaches up to 115,000 US dollar. But we have here a bright blue trend line, which should be resistance. It was resistance in the past two all-time highs. 113,775 US dollars. So if you are on my channel daily, then you know that trend line. If you are new, then it is a trend line on the weekly chart, which is connecting all the all-time highs with each other. I connected first those three all-time highs with each other, and predicted those two all-time highs in 2024 and 2025. It worked there. Yeah, this trend line wasn't on the chart when we had. This trend line was on the chart without those all-time highs. And we predicted it with this trend line. It currently has 5 touch points. If we count here this one as 1 touch point, then it has 5 touch points. This is going to be resistance for sure. This trend line isn't 100% perfect because it is on the weekly chart. We can still make a mistake, which can cause a difference of $1,000 easily. Anyway, with that said, it is possible to get into those price targets if we break the $110,350 to the upside. I want to see a 1 hour candle close over it, a nice push, which can even close the fair value gaps here, and afterwards a retest. In that retest, I'm going to be long into the push. So, I don't want to say it is negative yet, because we are currently still in the retest. But if we lose the green trend line, it's not looking positive. If we lose afterwards the $108,500, $550, which I think is the more important price mark, if we lose that price mark, then we should drop to $106,800 for Bitcoin. Like this. And what we have then is an head and shoulders formatation, which is a bearish pattern. Shoulder, head, shoulder formatation. If that breaks to the downside, then I take the length of one shoulder, which is the left one, put it to the breakout point. It shows me a target of $103,000, but I even think since we have support at $103,500 that we can drop there, or even we wick lower than that for a short term into the $103,000. If we lose that price mark, sustainable to the downside, then we can expect a bigger move to the downside. So I would look for Bitcoin. I can still imagine that if we don't bounce here, then we should bounce there. This is possible. I don't trade what I think. That's what I also want to say. I trade what I see. So if I see the $110,350 breaking to the upside, including a retest, then I'm going in the retest long. If I see the $106,790 breaking to the downside with a retest, I'm going to be short. So with that said, I can continue with Ethereum. So what did we say about Ethereum? Let's talk about this price movement here. We have said that we have here, if we go into the 50-minute chart, then you are going to see it a bit better, that this is some kind of an triangle or bearish pennant. I don't like the target of a bearish pennant. Yeah, the bearish pennant is telling us we take the whole price move from down here or from up here and put it then to our breakout point. But as you can see, the target would be the $2,383 if we use the bearish pennant. I like to switch the target of the bearish pennant into the target of a triangle, because a pennant is just showing us that we have a sharp sell-off and a consolidation within a triangle. And we can also take the target of the triangle. The target was here the $2,475, which was our first take profit. Anyway, we had said here we have a rising wedge, which broke to the downside, which got its retest. Target $2,510 on the white trend line. Here we went on the white trend line. If we also lose that white trend line to the downside, then the next target should be the $2,475. Afterwards, breakout, retest, follow through, but we didn't sold off into the target. It is okay, we still had our take profits if we would have shorted it. I didn't short it. I personally wanted to look how the market is going to get decided, because I personally think I don't know if we are bullish or if we are bearish at the moment. To know if we are bearish or bullish, we have to see the price mark of 2,585 US dollar breaking to the upside. Then I would even say that this here might be an inverted head and shoulders formation. Keep in mind, the right shoulder is currently here. It can still get down to the low of the left shoulder. Means the 2,500 US dollar. So this one here. We can still drop there, and the inverted head and shoulders formation would still be ongoing. So we can drop, and we can still be bullish. So what I have seen here on the 50 minutes chart was an head and shoulders formation. But since I'm doing the video now, since we also broke it to the downside, got the retest, maybe we get a follow through into the 2,516 US dollar. That's the target of the head and shoulders formation. We can also drop a bit more, like I said, 2,500 US dollar. But afterwards, I want to see the nice push to the upside. But same as Bitcoin, I'm not trading what I think. So just because I think we are going to go for the area 2,500 US dollar to 2,515 US dollar, and afterwards I expect a push to the upside, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be long once we get into that area. Like I said, I want to see the 2,585 breaking to the upside, like this. Maybe a nice push to the upside where we get a retest. And for the retest, here I'm going to be long for this push. So we can look what the target is of that head and shoulders formation. So we can take the left shoulder, for example, put it to the breakout point, target 2,674 US dollar. Here's the price mark, even 75. And if we are a bit more bullish, then we take the length of the head, put it then to our breakout point, target 2,713 US dollar. We also had the same setup, the head and shoulders formation, a bit earlier. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Broke to the upside, got its retest, got its follow through. We already worked off the length of one shoulder. Now we are still waiting for the target of the head. Target 2,814 US dollar of the old pattern. So I think that if we break the 2,585 US dollar to the upside and afterwards the 2,675 US dollar to the upside, or let's make it to 2,680 US dollar, then I think we can get our nice last push to the upside, closing the fair value gaps which we have here between 2,740 US dollar to 2,780 US dollar, and even reach for the strong resistance up to 2,850 US dollar. But the whole big circle, yeah, I know it's a big one. It is still a difference of almost 5%. This is going to be a take profit area, because afterwards I think if we don't break it to the upside and get this retest like this, then I would say, okay, we can get the push to the upside with this setup here, the last push into that area, and sell off from here. And then we have to see if we get this push afterwards. So, what do I also see? If we don't get another push to the upside, then we have to switch into the 1 hour chart. Ignore the price marks. double top pattern. So if the 2,325 US dollar breaks to the downside, then I can be bearish for Ethereum. As long as we hold it, we can't be bearish for Ethereum. Maybe on the short term, when we sell off, like this can still be a push to the downside by 8.6%, 8.5%, but it would still be bullish as long as we hold the 2,325 US dollar. So, small recap, 2,585 have to break to the upside, then I'm long into our set take profit areas. If we break something to the upside, I would increase my position size as well. For example, the 2,682 US dollar. If they break to the upside, then I can increase my position size as well. To be bearish, 2,325 US dollar have to break to the downside. So I will release the altcoin update in around, I think, 45 minutes. Yeah, then we will talk about XRP, Dogecoin, Solana, Cardano. Afterwards, Render, ONDO, SUI, and HBAR. So with that said, see you in the next video.